Okay, so today we're going to be just doing a basic service on this N70 Hilux. 2014 model. Just going to change the engine oil, the fuel filters, possibly the air filter, and just give it a general check over. Okay, first thing, pop the bonnet. First thing I like to do is just get these fender guards. They're just magnet on there, protect your fenders from getting scratched or oily or whatever. When we drain the oil, I just like to loosen off this filler cap. Just leave that sitting there so I can breathe and that oil can drain out. Get it up on the hoist and go underneath, loosen the drain plug off. Okay, now it's up on the hoist. Under the front, there's usually a bash plate on here. That's your engine oil drain plug that's in front of the front diff. We'll get that draining. The engine oil is now draining. I like to let the car back down and then we'll start on fuel and air filters. So to undo the air filter, there's just 3 clips on the outside. Okay. And then you just lift the lid up and remove the filter. Just have a look in the bottom of the airbox, make sure there's no leaves or anything that have been stuck in there. This one's pretty clean. Just get the new filter, sit it in there. There's an opening in one end, it's closed on the bottom. Goes then down in first, sits in there. And you just got to hold these clips up while you push it down. Get it lined up. Push it down so it's a good seal. Make sure these 3 clips go on properly. The air filter for this is an A1541. Now, change these fuel filters. We'll just remove this one. This is the factory one. This is actually an aftermarket one. We'll change that as well. Do this one here first, get it the other way. Get the other one in. So just remove that hose clamp. I usually just undo this fitting here. Have a drain tray under there to catch anything. It will leak a little bit out. The plug up the top here for a sensor. That one's to tell you if your filter's blocked. And there's also one down the bottom. We get this and just lift this filter out. It comes out like that. And the water separator side of it sensors at the bottom here, and you just unplug that one. And then remove that filter. Now to remove this filter, it's just a screw nut up the top. That bit of plastic. Just undo that one. That slides down, and then you can wriggle your filter down. Like that, remove it like that. And you change this glass bowl out, put it on the new filter. So we'll just go through and change these filters. This one here's got a glass bowl on it. You can just undo that bottom plug there, and that's the water trap. Just drain whatever's in there out, and then to drain the rest of it, just filter off at the end. To get this off, you just unscrew the bottom. That will screw onto the new filter. Take that plastic lock ring off. Put that on the new filter first. Put that ring on there. Screw that on. Tighten it up hand tight, so the bottom's tight. And you can reinstall it. It does have grooves in it, so it only sort of goes up one way. Just got to rotate it around till you feel it go up, and then your lock ring. And on, and put that up so it's firm. Okay, now with this one, I just removed this hose so it's not in my way. But before I do this one, I put a white mark on it, bottom and top thing, because they can go multiple ways. So yeah, just put a little mark on it. Same thing, unscrew this lock ring. So that drops off, and then just pull the filter apart. Pull that one out of there. Before you put this back together, I like to just give inside the bottom of that, sort of where any dirt or water will be sitting. Just give it a spray out so there's nothing in there, nice and clean. Yeah, on this one, there's an O-ring in here. So just flick that out. New filter comes with one. Just put that back on. I like to just lubricate it. Just a few. That old O-ring was still in there. Let's pull that out. New filter comes with a new one. Make sure it's on properly. Just push the filter in. So that's in there nice and tight. And then find your marks. get your lock ring. Just tighten that up. These lock rings actually click in. There's an arrow there and arrows there, so they actually line up. So you know your lock ring's on properly. Just get rid of that. Now to put this back on, make sure you clip in your bottom water separator sensor. That just clicks in, sits down the bottom. Just slide that back into the housing. Put your front filter sensor on. And connect this hose, get rid of that stuff. Clamp right on properly. Actually replace this hose, so I'm just going to run it up in here. Just going to cut that to a nice length. All the way on. Just put the clamp on. We'll try that up there. It doesn't touch anything. That fuel filter was an F2619. That's the factory one. This is aftermarket, so it won't be on your standard vehicles. Now that all the hoses are connected, fuel filters are changed, you have to prime the fuel system, which is just this little button here. Just press that until it gets really, really hard. Takes a bit because it's got 2 fuel filters to prime up. I can feel it getting hard now. It's This will suck the fuel up and pump the air through the system and bleed all the air off. Alright, that's tight now. So, that's your fuel filters done. We're going to change the engine oil filter. It's actually down here, right in the depths. So I'll put the drain plug in down the bottom. The engine oil's finished draining. Move the drain tray over a little bit so if anything spills, it'll get caught. Now what I use for this is just one of these little 3-legged oil filter tools, because you can put it straight down onto it, and a couple long extensions. A 3/8 ratchet. So we'll just get this down in there. Loosen that off a couple times. It's actually easy to do when the fuel filters are off, but I just wanted to show you how to do that in one go. Pull that out by the small filter. I'll just put a little bit of new engine oil around the seal there before you install it. And also give down here a bit of a wipe. Make sure the old seal come out, because that one there was still stuck on the housing. There's actually a little bit of oil caught sitting down there, so I'm just gonna try and soak it up a bit. Alright, now just screw your filter on. Once you've got it up firm, I like to just give it a little nip up. Now that filter is a Z418 oil filter. You're just gonna fill the engine oil up now. Take the filler cap off. I do have an oil pump, so I'm just gonna pump it in. Okay, as you're filling the oil up, just check it on the dipstick. Bit of wipe You got two marks there. One's low, one's high. You want it up to the high mark. Just check it as you go. These engines take between 7 and 8 litres usually, and we've got it up to the top of the high mark there. So that's good enough to start it. So we're going to start it up and recheck the oil, because as it circulates around it'll fill that oil filter up, and we'll need to put that little bit extra oil in it. So before you start it, make sure you put your filler cap back on. And because we've done the fuel filters, I like to make sure that's hard, which it usually goes down a bit, so that's really hard now and it's primed up really well. So we'll start it up, recheck the engine oil. So we'll let that sit for a minute. What you want to do is just, now that you've run it, just check that you've got no fuel or engine oil leaks from the filters or the filler plug. So that looks good, so we'll recheck the oil level. And you can see it's down about a third. So we'll top that up. Give it a little bit of oil at a time and check it. So perfect, she's right on the full mark again now. Didn't take very much. Perfect. Okay, now that we've done the basic oil and filter change on the engine, we're going to go around and just inspect a few other things while we're here. Like, that's a serpentine multi-rib belt. It drives everything. There's only one belt on this car. Drives your water pump, aircon, alternator. So you just want to check that for cracks, any abnormal wear. That one actually looks pretty good. And do your power steering fluid. That's pretty good. Your coolant reservoir, the marks for it is actually down there. That line there's a full one, and there's a line here that's low. You'll find it might fluctuate between them depending on temperature. It is a pressurized system, so be careful when you're running it and you undo the cap. Over here is your brake fluid. It's on maximum. This is automatic, so it doesn't have clutch fluid, but there'll be another reservoir just here if you have a manual. So that's pretty few basic checks for under the bonnet. Just have a general look around for any oil leaks, worn hoses, anything rubbing like that. Check your batteries, that the terminals are tight and the batteries are secured. Good. So next step, we're going to do an under vehicle inspection. We're just going to have a look at everything under there. I also like to rotate the tyres. So I'm going to rip all the tyres off and then we can check the brakes and stuff easy. But before we do that, I'm just going to lift it up a bit. I'm going to go around, give all the wheels a bit of a shake in that. Check, see if there's no movement in the wheel bearings or anything like that. And then I'll rip them off. That's it, all four wheels are just off the ground. I'm just going to give them a, just rotate them like that. Give them a bit of a shake, see if you can feel any movement. You feel good. When you do the rear ones, just make sure the handbrake is off. So you can feel it, they'll hold your bearings tight as well. They all feel good. So I'll just remove them wheels now. Now that the wheels are off, we'll go up and have a look under. Okay, so we're at one of the front wheels, inspecting the brake pads. They look pretty good. They're your brake pads there. I've got a new one here just for reference, okay? So that's how thick a new one is. That's how thick these ones are. So, about half worn. Also, while you're under here, you're going to check these bushes, these top control arm bushes, ball joint, sway bar, D-rubber on the front of the sway bar. These bushes here as well, top and bottom. Bottom shock mount bush. And steering tie rod. If you give that a wriggle, there should be no movement in there. So other parts of your under vehicle inspection is your front diff. Just make sure it's not leaking oil. These joints here have seals in them. That's where your CV shafts go through. One each side. This one here looks like it's been leaking, but it's not. But that's where you drain your oil filter and fuel filter sort of drain on top of that one. So just check that. Under your car, have a look around transmission and transfer case. Check the oil on your transfer case is here. Drain it's here. Check the uni joints. Just give that a wriggle up and down. We are going to grease these. Center bearing. Make sure there's no movement in that. Check all the unis. All look good. Your rear diff. No leaks there. Level plug. Drain plug. Shocky bushes are here. Top and bottom. You can just give them a wriggle. These are your shackle bushes for your rear leaves. Let's have a look at them in there. Same on the other side. They look good. So we're just gonna grease the drive shaft. Just the nipples in there. Just give it a bit of a wipe. Put your grease gun on there. Clip that on. Just give it a few pumps till you feel the grease coming out. The grease comes out these joints in here. See it pouring out there. So just go ahead and do that for all of them. So on this one, you'll see there's two grease nipples. There's one here and one on the inside. One on the inside does the uni joint itself. This one here goes down the shaft and lubricates the slip joint. The slip joint's here and it moves in and out as your suspension goes up and down. So it's important to get grease into that one too. To do the start on the tyre rotation, while it's up and down, it's going to move the tyres around. But basically, the rear tyres are going to go straight up the side to the front. The front tyres are going to crisscross and go to the back. So this front left tyre will end up on the back right hand side of the vehicle. Now I can let them down and put them back on. Okay, while you got your tyres off, just give them a rotate around. Just check there's not any nails or screws or sidewall damage or anything like that before you put them on. Just do them up a little bit with the rattle gun. Then put it on the ground. Just check it with a bar. So what we got here is the transfer case. This is the level plug for it. I'll just crack that off. And just be careful no oil flows out of here. It might come out. Yep. So oil's coming out of there, that's at the perfect level. Do that up. Now we're at the rear diff. We'll just do the same with that. Check the level. Okay, it's at the perfect level too. Okay, so we're at the front diff now. It's a bit trickier. You need a 10mm Allen key. And so looking at the front of the car here, here's the front diff. There's a drain plug for it. That's where your CV shaft goes in. And in between that, up the top there, you see that Allen key plug. That's the one, that's the level. We'll undo that and check it. So we've completed the basic service. There's a few other things I like to do just want to show you. Just go around and check all your lights, make sure everything's working, your tyre pressures, just stuff like that. Have a general look around the outside of the vehicle, make sure there's no damage or anything. Apart from that, I'm just going to take it outside, put some degreaser around this area here where we spill oil and fuel, and just give that a general wash down. And that's basically the service on the N70 Hilux.